before we start, please make sure you like, share, and most importantly, subscribe and click on that bell so you get notified when our videos drop, so our views can stay going up. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It actually really helped on this video as well. Please go check that out because that's kind of struggling right now. So please go check that out. Yeah.
People are working.
Okay.
People are working.
Yeah. So pretty much, well, the season's obviously not over, but I mean, the main topic this season so far has been how the Prem's being used. In the Prem, really, that's been the main focus. Because obviously in other leagues they started using it last season, but in the Prem it's only started this season. And there've obviously been quite a few conversations. And the one I wanted to have was actually, just first and foremost, what do you guys think is wrong with the Prem's VAR right now? What are some of the negatives that you've seen from it this season?
They don't know. Okay, not that they don't know, but it's often, what's the point of using VAR if it's not going to be used at the right times? It's often like we see it not used when it needs to be used. That's one of the biggest problems. And then it's also used when it's unnecessary, like, in the point of like, I don't know, some people might see it like completely unnecessary to like use VAR to rule a 1 millimeter offside as a no goal. Whereas like for serious things like, I don't know, maybe a foul or something, they just like kind of like just look over it and like, oh, whatever. So it's kind of like inconsistency in how it's applied.
I think the interpretation's the issue. Just because we don't know, there's no consistency on who's interpreting the VAR in each game or how it's being determined. Because like if you look at the Harry Maguire incident and the Son incident, where they both kicked up with their studs, and Son got a red card and Maguire didn't even get anything. Or did he get a yellow? I can't remember. But it wasn't a red. And if you look, the challenge is exactly the same, but there's inconsistencies there. So they're not, they haven't really determined how they go about deciding different things, and that needs to be touched up.
I'm a fan of a little bit of controversy. It's always nice when there's something to argue about, but like I think the consistency lacks, and also we need to see like why is it happening, because on some games it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's offside, but in the next game it's like just given, like the exact same situation would be given, and it just feels like there's lots of, like Shaw said, inconsistency. So I'd like a little bit of controversy, but I like consistent controversy, if that makes any sense.
And also, can I just say there's no reason. Sorry. Go on.
Okay, I was saying, I think I agree with Boone. Like the whole controversy aspect, it's good. It gets fans talking and everything, and it gets engagement in terms of like fans and everything. But because of the inconsistencies, it leaves people unhappy with VAR as a whole. And it's just like I forgot which game it was, but there was a build up to a goal. I think it was a City game. Can't remember who they were playing, where their goal. Huh?
It was the City-Liverpool game at Anfield.
Yeah, where their goal got disallowed because of a foul during build-up. And I've seen things like that happen in other games, but they don't even check VAR for things like that. And it's just like, why is it checked in this game and not in the other games? You know what I mean? So it's just the inconsistencies that get to me, I guess.
I think
what hurts me, the one thing that hurts me, like in the United game, Origi was fouled in the build-up, 2 passes away from the goal. Rashford goes and scores, and then like a very similar thing would happen in another game, and then it's not a goal. So
I think that problem stems from the fact, and I mentioned this like on the group before and stuff. Like all we see is like the ref just stops the game and he just does this, and then what we see and what the fans see is like VAR decision loading. We don't even know who's making that decision. Like they don't know who's making. Like I said, it could be like some 7-year-old hacker from like another country or something, just clicking yes or no. So
I think the biggest issue with that as well is that you see when they say foul in build up to a goal, like we don't know, like they haven't released what constitutes as a foul during build up. Is it the number of passes before a goal, like if my team makes 5 passes after the foul, does that foul now not get considered in the build-up of the goal, or do we have to run the ball a certain distance, keep it for a certain length of time? Like there's just too many unknowns in VAR for us to be satisfied with how it's being used in the Prem.
You know, it's also another massive issue with VAR is that they've tried to remove the human error component from refereeing, but in effect, what they've done is they've like now almost amplified it, because decisions that wouldn't have had to be made if VAR wasn't there, like, you know, they would have just been missed, like, you know, these small little 1 millimeter offsides, these tiny fouls in the build-up to play. These things wouldn't even have had to be in decisions in terms of real games, but now because of VAR, we're seeing them now, and then we're realizing that the human error aspect is actually, you know, it's even more in the public eye now, because we're seeing them make more mistakes with it, where we wouldn't even have noticed if VAR wasn't there.
Yeah, I have to agree, because I also feel like with what Boone said, he likes controversy, but we're getting the same controversy, but now it's just taking longer for us to hear about the decision. Like, the controversy is still coming and we're still having inconsistencies in calls, but we were having that before. We didn't have to stop the game and have all of these, like, have all the fans staring at the screen waiting for a decision. Like, it was just the ref choosing on the spot and then there was an error. And now we're having the same kind of thing, but it's a longer build up. I honestly feel like the only way to fix it is to have the ref making the calls, and if they want to introduce some kind of technology, every single stadium should have like a screen that the ref could look at and the fans could look at as well.
I 100% agree with that. I think that should be the method they should use going forward. I think there should be a screen on the side of the touch line where only the ref can go, because I feel like right now, like, referees get away with like the most, like, the weird. Actually, no, we have no one to blame for bad decisions, but like a system, like the system itself. Have you noticed, like, if a bad call is made, it's not like, oh, that was a terrible call by the ref. It's always like, yeah, that wasn't the ref's call, it was just VAR. But who was VAR? Like, someone has to take responsibility for decisions that are changing the course of important football matches. Like I was mentioning earlier, that Liverpool and that City game when I think it was Bernardo Silva who was deemed to be like fouled in the box, but then it was like it hit someone's hand or something like that, and then Fabinho went to score.
What happened was like someone hit like it was in the box, and then it sort of like ricocheted off someone, then it hit Bernardo Silva's hand, and then it hit Trent's hand, and then Liverpool went up the field and scored, and everyone was like, but that's a handball, and they were focusing on that, but they didn't they awarded the goal, and not once did they show us that it hit Bernardo Silva's hand.
It's just like it feels like no one has to take responsibility just because like there's this new thing called VAR, so everyone can just be like, yeah, VAR, look at that, don't look at me, that's just VAR, which, yeah, I think that's something they should change going into next season. I don't know. I honestly think if they did put a screen on the side, I don't think the controversy would go away, because the human error aspect will still be there, because some things are still open to interpretation and stuff. But I honestly think it'd be so much better if there's just someone to take responsibility, like, for decisions being made. You know what I mean? Because now it just feels like, yeah, it feels now the ref on the field just feels like a decoration, to be honest. Like he's just running up and down at the players, and yeah. So I don't know what else.
Whistle.
Can I pose a question?
Yeah, sure.
The way VAR has been implemented, do you think, like I'm talking about right now, do you think it's made the game better or worse in terms of how it's been used right now?
I don't think worse. I don't want to say worse, because there are like lots of correct decisions being made. So I don't think it's so much worse, but I just think there's lots of room for improvement. Like, yeah, that's my take just for now. I think there's lots of room for improvement.
My dream scenario is like we do it in cricket. So every team has two choices, and you can go upstairs. Yo, it'd be so crazy.
But my problem, that sounds great on paper, but my problem with that is that teams will use it to time waste at the end of the game.
Okay, they play. Nice. Nice.
What I do want to say about the small screen on the sideline, I don't believe that should be a thing, because I think it just takes away from the atmosphere in the stadium. I think it's okay for us watching on TV, but I think the fans still get irritated because they can't see that screen on the sideline. So I honestly think it should be compulsory for every single stadium to have a big screen in their stadium, like what Spurs have done with their new stadium. And I think it's only Old Trafford and Anfield in the Premier League, I think, that don't have a big screen. And I think that they need to put one in. Yeah, we just don't have one. So I think if we put that in, and then the ref decides that he wants to go upstairs, like what he does, what you can do in rugby, then the ref can look, but the whole stadium can look as well. So then that also just adds to the atmosphere. Like people will start cheering. I think it will be cool, and then it won't have that dragging effect where people are just waiting, not knowing what's happening.
The biggest issue with VR this season has been the weirdest one for me personally. I just don't get like all the outrage of it, but it's been the overturning of goals due to offside. I don't know about you guys.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So whenever an offside happens, like where do you guys stand? If someone's 1 millimeter offside, they're offside. Like it's non-negotiable. Or do you guys believe that offside has to be like visible from the human eye to deem it offside? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but how do you classify visible from the human eye?
As in, like, if I'm 20 meters away and someone's 1 millimeter ahead of another person, I can't see that with my eye. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have to zoom in through a camera and everything to see something like that. So when I mean like visible through the human eye, I mean like he's noticeably ahead. So whether it's by the tip of his elbow or something like that, or do you believe that if he's a millimeter offside, he's just offside and it's no debate?
I mean, if the elbow's offside, it is an offside, because then you can't score with that, which means that part of the body doesn't count as offside. So you'd be good with if your elbow's offside.
You're a bastard, you know what he means.
No, but my question is, how can you make it like a formula that like you can apply across all the games so that it's used every time? Because it's always going to be like that debate, like, no, I could definitely tell that was an offside. No, I couldn't tell that was. You could never tell that was offside. So what's the formula that you can use? It's like 20 meters to the square of the centimeter of the player's number. What's the his height times the ratio of his head times the minutes left on the board. What's the formula? How can you calculate human like vision and being that was, you can tell that it was offside by the human eye?
Look, my opinion on it is, since we have the technology to say what's offside is offside, then there's no reason that a millimeter offside shouldn't be deemed offside, right?
Yeah.
It's the rules, black and white. But like, whether you disagree with the premise of how the offside rule is defined is a completely different thing, right? I don't believe if you're leaning forward, right, and then you get called for offside because your chest is offside, and you can score a goal with your chest or you can score a goal with your head. I think personally that's stupid, in my opinion. But that has nothing to do with VAR. That's just the rules of football as it is, you know. So like the actual application of it in terms of determining, is he 1 millimeter offside? Offside is offside. You can't argue, right? There's no, otherwise, like what Boone said, it's a slippery slope. How do we define what's what? Then we make a subjective rule out of something that's objective already. It's there in black and white. Okay, but my issue is more with the actual offside rule and the VAR application of it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with him as well.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm just thinking. Sorry, I'm interrupting you like crazy, but like I feel like if we're too pedantic now about 1 millimeter and it's like to the armpit or something, it's kind of just taking away that whole. I mean, someone could time their run pretty much almost perfectly, and it could be an amazing goal with a beautiful assist, and then just because a little bit of his armpit's offside, it's deemed no goal. And I just feel like that takes away like the whole beauty of the goal. Like I just feel like it's stupid. Like how can you deem someone offside just by 1 millimeter of their armpit or something?
I'm so glad you said that, because it actually feeds into what I was about to say perfectly. Football fans need to decide between these two things. They need to decide whether they want controversy and drama and entertainment, like they want scripted things, or they want correct decisions being made and like fair play, like no complaints. This is that. Because right now it feels like they want the best of both worlds with this rule particularly. And in my opinion, you just can't achieve that. So they either have to accept the fact that these are the rules, and VR is here to implement these rules, so they like no one can complain, at the end of the final, or like big game or relegation game, this happened fair, no one was cheated, or they want the emotion side of it where now afterwards we're going to talk about, oh yeah, but if this was actually called offside because it was offside, then we would have won. So that's what I'm saying. Football fans need to decide whether they want a fair game at the end of it where no one has complaints, like you lost, you won, or they want to be entertained, like it's scripted or something. That's my take.
The only thing is, how do you like vote for that, or how do the fans as a group decide on that?
Oh no, the fans have no say. I'm just saying this is just like.
The fans will never be happy.
Sorry?
The fans will never be happy. Notice how the rules of football
Yeah.
change when it's your team that play. Like, come on, like, we all know. Like, we see a bad tackle, oh, it's a foul, but if it's your player, it was all ball. Like, come on. You know,
Facts.
Yo, I immediately think of when I said Pogba's wasn't a red card against Arsenal when he steps on Bellerin's knee or something. Yo, the emotion got the
that's
better
the
of me.
thing, bro. The implementation of VAR is never going to make everyone happy. So if that's what if that's what we're trying to achieve, we can forget about it. I'm sorry, it will never make everyone happy.
What do you think? Can we all agree that like VAR is like it's needed in sports or in football particularly? I think it's the right decision to implement. Yeah, because referees can only do. Ooh. Yeah.
Needed.
Back in my day.
No, I wouldn't say needed. I wouldn't say needed. Sports was fine without it for however many years. In terms of does it improve it? Sure. It does. Technological. No. We gotta stay in tune with the times. Right? Like technology is moving on, but I would say it's needed 100%. Like really, it's. If VAR,
Bro, look at the NBA, bro. Imagine the NBA didn't have cameras, bro. Oh my soul, dude. Oh my goodness, what a mess of a sport.
Dude, imagine cricket and rugby without like any sort of video assistance.
Yeah, like
Did you know
Australia
what-
would have got away with cheating, bro.
Dude,
Exactly.
Literally.
no, I
I
think
just don't think it's needed. I don't think it's like integral to a sport. Like it's, it makes it more fair and yeah. But otherwise, I don't think it's necessary. 100%. We were doing just fine without it. Football-wise, at least.
I just think the biggest problems with VAR come into offside. I feel like if we use it maybe for just looking at tackles and goals and stuff, and then just rely on the linesman, but then that also just becomes ridiculous because we're saying we have the technology, so we might as well look at it. But I just feel like there's been too many times where that offside from VAR call has actually kind of like sucked out a bit of the passion in the game, just because of the fact that someone can be ruled offside by an armpit or something.
That's what I'm saying. It's not necessary. Like people would argue it was better, it was more dramatic when it wasn't there. There's more controversy. It made football interesting, right? But I'm saying since we have the technology, let's use it to make the game better. But it's still not necessary.
it's a good way to end off. Nice little quote there. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe video. And again, click that bell. And yeah, we'll see you next time.